Hello, everyone. It's Linda Hayes, and today I want to talk about exploring Belize for retirement. So, the reason I decided to do this video is because I had a viewer reach out with some questions. So, he's looking at retiring in Belize and wants to do his first trip to explore this fall. So, he was looking at potentially staying in Ambergris Key, Key Cocker, Hopkins, Placencia, Corozal, and San Ignacio to check those places out. But he wanted to avoid Belize City, Belmopan, and Punta Gorda. And I'll also say that I have stayed in Punta Gorda and in Belize City, and both of those places are okay if you know where to go and what to do. But it is more common for the places he mentioned that people will stay in. And I'm going to talk about a lot of the videos and other things that I've used for resources and some of the places I've stayed at. He also wanted some recommendations on places to stay that are very short term but still immersive. And a lot of people do ask about staying a few days in every place. That can be a lot more expensive and involve a lot more travel because a lot of people have discounts for a week stay. So, what I do recommend to people is if you're planning to check out many places, potentially if you have, say, a month, rather than staying 4 days here, 4 days there, to maybe have a couple of home bases and then you can do day trips to the other places. So, that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about. And I'll also talk about some places that you could stay at while you're doing this type of trip. So the first resource I want to talk about is international living. So before I started investing in Belize, I did have a subscription to the magazine that comes out in the mail, but there are also a ton of YouTube videos from international living. So I put the playlist there if you want to take a look. And one of the videos is about the most popular places for expats. And I can attest that I've seen this when I've traveled to the places. So Ambergris Key, Key Cocker, and Placencia have the most expats. And then there are more experienced expats that do spread out to the Cayo, Corozal, and Hopkins area. So that is one of the videos from Laura Diffendale, who is the Belize correspondent for International Living. She also has another video on the 5 best places to live in Belize, so I have the link there for that. And she talks there about Ambergris Key, Placencia, Corozal, Cayo, and Key Cocker being the best, or the best places to live. And then next she talks about Hopkins and the City River area. So I've been everywhere except Hopkins, which I plan to go visit on my next trip. And the City River area is really nice. I've been there, and we're actually planning to potentially do a tiny home community there in the future because it is really a nice place that's not that far away from the Hopkins area. So another resource that I'd recommend if you're considering where you might want to retire is the Easy Belize book that you can get on Amazon. It was written by Lance Suter. And one of the things I really love about this book is he has a report card of all the different places in Belize. So the categories that he reports on are popularity with expats, safety, overall cost of living, real estate costs, investment potential, leisure activities, restaurants, cultural activities, infrastructure, business potential, medical care, and shopping. So this will allow a comparison of the items you care about. And he also does talk about the advantages of each area. So for example, if you really like shopping and you wanted to compare where was the best shopping in Belize, you could see that Ambergris Key has a B minus, Key Cocker has a D, and Corozal has a B plus because of its proximity to Mexico. So depending what you care about, this report card will really help you a lot. And the book's easy to get, and I've used it a lot when I was researching different things about different parts of Belize. So when you're staying in Belize, what a lot of people will do is split their trip between the islands and the mainland. So you can see on my map here, I put the drive time from Placencia way down south to Corozal, and it's quite a long drive. It's about 4 hours and 38 minutes in Google when I looked it up right now. But if you were staying in San Pedro, it's very, very simple to get to Key Cocker because it's only a 30-minute water taxi. You could also take a really short puddle jumper plane from San Pedro to Key Cocker, as you can from Belize City to basically any of the locations you might want to check out. So what I do recommend doing is staying on the islands for part of your trip. So you could pick San Pedro as your home base and easily go visit Key Cocker, or do it the other way around. Now, if you're kind of considering which one would be better for you in terms of the island life, San Pedro is very lively. There's activities every night. You can do karaoke, you can play cribbage, you can play pickleball, you can do all different kinds of things depending what you're interested in. Trivia, there's Wheel of Fortune nights at Naughty Crab, there's crab races. So it is hugely lively, tons of tourists, lots of people. Caye Caulker is a little different. It's much smaller. It's a lot more of a quaint place. People are generally riding bicycles and walking. There are no paved roads, whereas San Pedro, we do have some paved roads and we typically drive golf carts. So that's kind of the difference between the vibes in the two different islands. And again, that's one way you can spend part of your trip. Then the next part, I would recommend staying on the mainland. Now, I really love Placencia, and I've spent many weekends going there from San Pedro. Usually what I do is I rent a car from Belize City and drive down to Placencia because it's a beautiful drive. A lot of people choose to fly because it is a lot quicker, about half an hour instead of driving for about 3.5 hours. But when I drive from Belize City to Placencia, I do pass through many different places that are really beautiful, the jungle part of Belize, which is really nice. So when you're on the mainland, you can choose to stay in Placencia or in the Hopkins area, which is just a little bit north of where Placencia is. And then you can do day trips to explore the different jungle destinations that you want to see. So I know people that live in Placencia, and that's one of the reasons they like it, is it's easy for them to get to other places to check out. And you can see Punta Gorda down really far south on the map. And I have went there quite a few times. Usually I just stay for one night. There's a chocolate factory we visited. There's Blue Creek, which is a fantastic place that you can hike and then swim inside a mountain. So if you have a good tour guide, that's a really nice place to check out also. And then you can see Belmopan, which is the capital in the middle there, which generally you wouldn't go there unless you are on the way on driving to Placencia. We'll stop at a restaurant called Quality Chicken in Belmopan. But other than that, you're not going to typically go to Belmopan unless you're doing some paperwork for immigration or something like that. So yes, if you want to split your trip between the mainland and the islands, that's what I would recommend doing. And then for Corozal, though, it is quite far away. And I did do a trip to Corozal where I flew from Belize City for a weekend and stayed there. Corozal is a place where I noticed there are some gated communities that expats live in, and that's what I actually stayed in through Airbnb. The thing about that gated community is it was quite far from town. It was really close to the Mexico border, only about a 15-minute drive. But I didn't really find the vibe there to be what I liked. But if you are looking for cheaper property, Corozal definitely is a place you might want to check out, especially if you want to be able to get quickly to Mexico. So now I want to give a couple of accommodation options on Ambergris Caye. So the first one is Sandbar, which is a hostel, but it's not a hostel that you have to stay in a dorm room. So I used the dates of September 24th to October 1st, which is in low season, just to give an example of what the rates would be. So for Sandbar, if you are okay with the mixed dorm room, it's $15 a night. But if you do want a queen double room with a private bathroom, it's $50 a night. So still really affordable at $350 a week. So it is a great location. It's right on the beach. There's a great restaurant. Food's really good here, and it's very central in San Pedro. So that is one place you might want to look at staying. And I know a lot of different people who've stayed here and really liked it as a way to explore what their next step would be to secure, say, a rental, or while they're building, they've stayed in this place as well. Next, I'm going to show another property that I found on Airbnb, and I know somebody who owns in this property, but just to say there are tons and tons of different places you could stay. I just wanted to show an example of a condo. So this one is called Paradise Villas, and it's a 2-bedroom condo. So it has a kitchen if you want to stay for a period of time where you're doing your own cooking. This is fantastic. And when I just looked up the same period of time in low season, the price on Airbnb was $16.50 Canadian for the week. So depending on rates, it would be around $1,300 US. So for a 2-bedroom condo, not too bad of a price compared to some of the hotels that you might stay at. So in terms of brand name hotels in San Pedro, we currently have 3. So there is the really high-end Alaya Marriott Hotel right on the beach. That's a really modern type hotel. We also have the Hilton that's inside Mahogany Bay Village, which is really nice. They have individual houses that you can rent. A lot of them do have kitchens. And then more recently, we've just got a Best Western, which is Grand Bayman Gardens, not on the beach, but does have really nice tennis courts where you can play pickleball, and it has a nice pool and gym area. So those are the brand name hotels. So depending again how long you want to stay for, a lot of the different options on Airbnb might be good. And also the Best Western does have kitchens, so they are condos as well. So those are different things that you could look at if you're wanting to stay in Ambergris Caye. But I would highly recommend that wherever you're going to stay, Caye Caulker I've never stayed, so I can't really give any recommendations, but definitely look at Airbnb to find out what different properties are in your price range. Now I want to show some example accommodations you could find in Placencia. So I've done many trips where I've stayed in different places, and the first time we went, we actually made the mistake of searching for Placencia in Airbnb, and we ended up booking a place that was far up here on the peninsula, and it wasn't really that wasn't really something we wanted to do. We did have a car, but we really wanted to stay actually in the village here rather than up on the peninsula, just because for our first trip we wanted to really be able to walk around the sidewalk and see everything. So the village is at the very far end of the peninsula. So you'll see here, if you're searching in Airbnb, make sure you go down into the main area if you want to be able to walk to all the different places. So the Placencia sidewalk has kind of a mix of local housing, boutique hotels, art galleries, restaurants, and bars. So that's this main area right here. And if you do want to stay there, make sure you look in this area. But if you want to stay somewhere a little quieter and right on a nice beach, you could do that as well up on the peninsula. So there are lots of different accommodations with different price points here. I've stayed at a hotel in the village called Ocean Breeze that I really like, and I like the bar there. I go there quite often when I visit Placencia. I've also stayed at a place called Green Parrot that's in the Maya Beach area, that's up on the peninsula. I've stayed at the Naya Resort because that's where we've bought property, and it is really nice with independent houses that you can book right on the beach. And I've also stayed at a little place that was really affordable right in the village just for a night when I needed to go for a short period of time. So just check Airbnb and you'll see the range of different accommodation at different price points, some more affordable and some that are really expensive. So Belize is a fantastic country, and depending on what you like, many different areas may be suitable. So I'd recommend first doing an exploration trip, which is exactly what this viewer was talking about doing. And then once you like a specific place, come back and stay a few months to really see if it is the right vibe for you. So some of these pictures are from different places. I always have a lot of pictures of Placencia and Ambergris Caye on my videos, but here are some other parts of Belize. So on the top right picture, that is actually a jungle resort that we stopped at. We met the owner of this place while we were getting ice cream, and he's like, "Hey, come check out my new resort." So, and that's kind of what happens in Belize. People are very, very friendly. Then on the bottom left, I have a picture of Blue Creek, that waterfall there, which is by the Punta Gorda area. So lots of beautiful stuff to look at there as well. And then on the bottom right, I have a picture of the duty-free zone between Belize and Mexico. So if a lot of people that do live in Corozal like it because of the proximity to Mexico for shopping and medical services. So lots of different places that you might want to check out. And then living in them, though, might be a little different than just seeing them. So a lot of people make the mistake of coming for a week, loving the vibe as a tourist at a specific place, but then when they come to live there, it's a totally different ball game. That's why I recommend definitely staying for a longer period of time to see if it's right for you. So I hope this video has helped, and if you have any questions, please reach out.